Welcome back. You are here with our Master J, and today we are doing a comic book review of GODSLAP Volume 4, the next installment from Bad Egg Publishing and Mr. MoistCr1TiKaL himself. And before we jump into the review of GODSLAP 4, if you are new to this series, you can check out my reviews of issues 1 through 3 in the links below. So issue 4 starts off right at the end of issue 3, where the group has been separated by the storm. Ace, again left for dead in rubble, is picked up by another mysterious drifter, Frankenstein-looking, by the name of Graft. Graft quickly takes Ace in as a companion, friend, and confidant, we'll say, and convinces Ace to go back to his village. While this is going on, Noon and Cyan are out looking for Ace after the storm. They get into a little bit of a tussle with a group of bandits. They are quickly able to deal with this group of bandits and eliminate the threat completely. After that, they do find Ace's trail, but Noon identifies that Ace is probably in some grave danger at this time. While all our characters are roaming the desert lands, Defister is strongly suggesting to his primary henchman, Olfactor, he better make tangible progress in finding Ace, or he will suffer the consequences. Now that is a quick synopsis of issue 4. Again, this book has absolutely just lovely art, great action sequences, a fight between Noon and Cyan and the bandits, a ton of fun, lots of color, lots of splatter, lots of violence, a lot of fun with, again, the artwork and artistic style that is being presented in these GODSLAP books. One thing that is interesting, though, from a story standpoint is all of a sudden Cyan, who's been hinting in a lot of the covers that she's going to eventually engage in some of these confrontations, it shows that she has some sort of technology to make some sort of energy rod stick come out of her wristband and can actually fight. She holds her own and defeats multiple enemies within the engagement. I did find it a little strange that this has not come up in any situation beforehand, specifically in issue 2, when they are being kind of held captive by Defister henchmen before Defister finally shows up himself. You thought that being that there was a confrontation, physical confrontation taking place, that she would have tried to defend herself in the same way she did these bandits out in the desert. The mysterious Graf character seems like some sort of self-sustaining Frankenstein's monster. What powers this thing, how he assembles himself, seems very interesting. And the fact that Noon is significantly worried for Ace at this time makes you wonder, does this Graf character also have some sort of special powers? Ace obviously has his capabilities, but does Graf have some way to counter that? Or is he just going to be able to slap his way to victory? So from a progression of the story, it is continuing to move along. We are making progress. It's just very unclear of where the story is going. Our main characters really just have the entire time been in survival mode. I'm really beginning to wonder if Ace regrets his decision from running away from the ranch and Darius in issue 1 to go through his arm being blown off, him being beat up by Defister, then getting buried in rubble after the lab explodes, then being buried in rubble again by a sandstorm, and now being in the captive or in the presence of some sort of Frankenstein monster that might want to eat him for body parts. I don't know what's going on yet. But what the goals of our main characters are have been survival the entire time. We do know that Defister had that vision of what I'm assuming is Ace as a baby, maybe Defister's own child, which gives Defister reason to want to chase Ace. But at this point, Ace, Cyan, and Noon they're not even on the run. They're just trying to survive. They're not running from Defister. Defister, for all they know, isn't even chasing them still. So it will be interesting to see how the next couple issues. This was the first book to note it to be concluded. So I'm going to guess this is probably going to go to about issue 6 before it finally wraps up. I don't know if Charlie and his team plan to go beyond that. I overall have GODSLAP issue 4 at 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. I'm still not seeing kind of that development and like growth. I'm seeing a couple other weird, interesting, again, the artwork in the book itself from an action standpoint is really good. Really enjoyable to take on. I'm enjoying kind of this nasty little Graft character that's kind of like creeped into the story. Noon's a really kind of cool character. Cyan's kind of all over the place now because now she's just a rebel fighter, which reminds me, Cyan gets really upset with Noon that he kills somebody by shooting him in the back in cold blood, while the two of them just killed 3 or 4 people. Yeah, confirmed. They killed 4 people, and the last one, who would have killed them, they finished them off, and Cyan's all of a sudden upset about it. This to me didn't make any sense in the over-the-top way they had her react. If there was a little bit more of a slight pushback, I would have been like, okay, or some sort of like under-the-breath kind of statement about it. I would have been like, okay, so she's trying to be just a morally higher person. But for her to kind of have a freak out, like, oh my God, you can't do that. It didn't work for me. You're in survival mode in the desert. You're being, in theory, you're being chased by Defister and the strongest people the city of Montepillar have to offer. And now you're in the desert after trying to find AS. Like, for all you know, those people could have AS captured. Like, I would have maybe gone more of that route. Like, hey, they might know where, he might have known where AS was. And now you just ruined our lead. I take it more in that sense than trying to be this morally, I'm so righteous when I just murdered 2 people anyway. But, you know, because they had, like, I don't know, we're in the Wild West now, and anything goes. Also, before we sign off, really? Defister has hand feet? There's no way his hand feet fit into normal shoes that he's kind of wearing in the other issues. I don't know why he's got to have 4 fists. It's fucking weird. Kind of just laughed out loud and said, this is fucking weird when I saw it. But that's it. So, GODSLAP issue 4, 6 out of 10. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you enjoying GODSLAP? Are you excited for future issues to come? If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. And have a fantastic rest of your evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are on this crazy world. And as always, GG's.